What's going on, Jerome's? With the trade of Zadarius Smith to the Cleveland Browns, as well as the potential trade or potential future release of running back Dalvin Cook, the Minnesota Vikings suddenly find themselves going from overlooked to overbooked and going from next to no salary cap to a little decent chunk of change because I just feel so happy when I get to use that. I wish I could put it in every video. We should just make it part of the intro, but anyways, the Vikings, if they release Dalvin post June 1st, which is likely to happen, the Vikings will have around $18.6 million in cap space. Now, even if they release him and then Dalvin signs a contract with a team that's over $2 million, the Vikings will get back $2 million in cap space since he does have $2 million guaranteed. It does offset, so the Vikings could potentially have around $20 million in cap space, and of course, it would be around $20.6 if they do trade him. Either way, they do have some cap space to play around with. So what are they going to do with it? We got some options. We wanted to run through them. Number one, outside free agents. So yes, all of the shiny new objects. Dalton Reisner is a free agent for whatever reason. Chris Cooper, obviously, they go way back like chiropractic. He would either help shore up the interior offensive line or at minimum be quality competition for Ezra or Ingram, etc. So I think that makes all the sense in the world, especially for Ezra. Actually, I think Ed Ingram is going to be fine. Then you have cornerback Caleb Witherspoon, who was with the Niners, most recently with the Steelers. Him and Flores did have some crossover last year as Flores was assistant to the regional head coach on the defensive side of the ball. And Ndamukong Suh is just out there floating, man. I love it. As well as Leonard Floyd. Of course, him and Kevin O'Connell go way back like chiropractic with the Rams. He is still currently a free agent. Or if you want to add more veteran pass rush, you got guys like Melvin Ingram out there. You got guys like Yannick the freaking Ngakoue. Of course, the Vikings fans know him well. Either way, if the Vikings wanted to add some outside free agents, they do have the cap space right meow. Number two, trade. So Devin White just out there chilling. Does need a new contract. He would be an immediate upgrade at the off-ball linebacker position, as well as add an extra dimension as a pass rusher. So that would be intriguing. Chase Young. Kwesi loves a couple things about prospects. Number one, high draft pedigree. Chase Young has that for former number 2 overall pick. A distressed asset in terms of Chase Young's value went way down because of injuries, as well as the Commies did decline his 5th-year option. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't eventually sign an extension with them, as we saw Garrett Bradbury last year, who the Vikings declined his 5th-year option, still signed a 3-year deal. But, I mean, Chase Young, when he's healthy, when he's on, is an absolute disruptor. He's an absolute force, man, and I would be okay with that. I certainly would be okay if, at minimum, they explored it. Next up, number 3, so extensions. Jefferson makes all the sense in the world. Hockenson makes sense as well. Kirk Cousins, you know, after the Vikings didn't get a top-tier quarterback in this year's draft, even though I do love Jaron Hall, it's clear that he could be the guy and maybe should be the guy in 2024. So maybe a 1-year Band-Aid extension or maybe a 2-year with only really 1 year with guaranteed money. Who knows? Now, with Jefferson, his cap hit this year is minimal, but if they did sign him to the mega extension, they could work it to where the only cap impact is the proration of his signing bonus. But with Hockenson and Cousins, it could actually lower their cap hits even more this year, where Cousins has a $20.25 million cap hit even after his contract adjustment, $28.5 million dead in 2024. So an extension could alleviate some of that or kick the can or spread it out even further. Hockenson is on his 5th-year option, a $9.329 million. An extension could also reduce that cap number as well. And then option number 4, which, we just went Sopranos on that. But option number 4 would be rolling it over to 2024 as cap space does, where unused cap space goes to next year, etc. Where, I mean, the Vikings are fine at this moment in time. And if they do move on from Dalvin, they'll have around $20 million in cap space that could roll over. So they could potentially have up to $74 million in cap space for 2024. Now, yes, you do need a couple $1 million throughout the season just through attrition, bringing up guys from the practice squad, free agents, etc. But the Vikings could roll over a decent chunk of change into 2024, and Kwesi has already done a really nice job of clearing up future cap space, moving on from Zadarius, as well as Thielen, as well as Kendricks, potentially Dalvin as well. So the Vikings could be primed to absorb some of the cap hits of extensions for Jefferson and Hockenson, and Darrisaw is eligible next offseason. Kirk Cousins, I don't know, man. But the Vikings do have some options now. That they do have some cap flexibility, and we said that this was going to happen. And props to Kwesi, props to Rob Brzezinski, of course, for working the books. And the Vikings have an uber competitive team. They got out from underneath some not so great contracts from the Spielman era, and we're moving forward the best we can. That's right, man. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. How should the Vikings use their sudden cap space surplus? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.